Hello, and welcome to Appleton Engaged. I'm your host, Timber Smith, DEI coordinator for the City of Appleton.
And I'm Andy and I'm the communications manager for the city.
And Appleton Engaged is a podcast that explores the many people, organizations, and resources that make our community a great place to live, work, and play. So whether you're a longtime resident or just getting to know Appleton, join us as we learn more about our community together.
Today's episode is a little different, and it's certainly not my alley because it is all about numbers.
Oh, what are you saying, Andy? That's not your thing?
Nah, I wasn't good at numbers, but I will try to learn more today. Maybe I'll have some luck.
I'm very excited about today because these particular numbers aren't just for anyone, they're for the entire community. And I think as we learn about this resource, we're going to pause and say, how can I learn more? So this week's guest is Jason Schulist, Executive Director for Fox Valley Data Exchange. Hey, Jason, how's it going?
Great. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. You ready to jump in?
Sure.
Can you please tell us about your association with Appleton and the surrounding Fox Cities region?
Sure. The first time I ever came to Appleton was in 1977 for an Appleton Foxes game when I lived in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So that was my first touch of the Appleton area. But I have lived here after 29 moves in Appleton since 2013. And that's when I took a job as the vice president over at Appvion. Since coming to the area, I've spent a share of my time volunteering in the community, trying to use the skills that I've obtained over the years to kind of make a difference in the community. And so early last year, I helped to start up and found the Fox Valley Data Exchange. And this is a nonprofit that's focused on free access for the Tri-County community of data so that you can have all the data you need at your fingertips.
Hey, now I think that's an amazing thing because it is something that's constantly asked for, as you talk amongst organizations. Can you please, where do you find the data for this? And in my particular role, it's always about demographics.
Yes. So we founded the Fox Valley Data Exchange back in May of 2023. And this is an evolution of what was known as the Fox Cities Life Study. So if you remember the Life Study, it was a data website that was used from the Community Foundation, the United Way, and the Chamber of Commerce that was bringing this up. The problem was with this is that there was problems with creating the data being updated, and also it would cost every time you wanted to update the data. So what we found is that the newly created Fox Data Exchange is a one-stop shop for this data, and it covers all of Calumet, all of Outagamie, and all of Winnebago County. So we call it the Tri-County. And so we're officially based in Menasha, and I work from home in Appleton, so I still get to spend most of my time in Appleton or in the many coffee shops across the Fox Valley.
How is this data gathered first, and what are the different ways that you can break out the data?
Sure. So currently, most of the data that we're providing was what would be called secondary data, or data that is captured at a national level or at a state level, but goes all the way down to the census tract level. So the American Community Survey or the census are two data sources that you could think of. And the American Community Survey updates their data every year. So at the moment, most of our data, and we have over 100 data points in our data system, you can look at this data and break it down, sometimes on demographics, but definitely on geography. So if you want to look at one data point, it's called the ALICE, Asset Limited Income Data, that United Way kind of helps to bring out. You can go look at that from a zip code perspective, and you can kind of see what's that ALICE number look like in those different areas. You can then look at it as a trend. So you can say, how is it going from 2017 to now? Are we getting better? Are we getting worse? Where do we focus our energy and attention based on what we learn from the data?
So why did you feel the need to create that? Because I know people can get data on different things from different websites and sources. So how did you come to this, idea of the nonprofit that, we need this kind of data centers to understand exactly how the Fox City region is evolving?
Sure. Back in the COVID days, I was a vice president over at Bolt Corporation working on operational excellence. and also still supporting the community. And I had been part and on the board of the United Way years ago, probably 7 years ago. And I noticed how hard it was to get some of this data. I was on their data team. I was also on the Imagine Fox Cities data team. And for a while, I was contracted in by a healthcare organization to get data as they were building their community health improvement plan. So I knew that there seemed to be this inefficiency in how to get this data. And we did a back of the envelope for the Fox Cities, and we figured there was like 27 full-time people walking around looking for data from businesses, from healthcare, from public health, from nonprofits, from foundations. And if we could just put that together, maybe it would cost less for the community to find it. And a lot of this you'd have to go to different websites. Now it's all in one place. It's simple. Click of the button, and you can get exactly what you need.
How far back does this data go?
Most of the data goes back about 8 to 10 years when you're looking at the trends. It just depends how much you want to keep in there. So some data goes from really long time ago, but it's the same data that's collected over and over and over again. We are looking at integrating local data, so not just the state and national, but taking some of the data like the 211 data from the United Way, and how do we think about integrating that in so we can kind of see where are the needs coming from geographically? Where do we see where some issues are for transportation, for food access, and things of that nature? So we'll be building those, taking some of the data sets that exist already and the new data that's coming from them, we'll be building those into the Fox Valley Data Exchange website.
Now, this is fairly new, right?
Yes. So our website is available now and is free. So you can go out there and look at it today, and it's been out there since July of 2024. So we founded ourselves in May 23. We soft launched in July of 2024, and we formally launched on October 15th.
So, and you said free. So anyone can go to the website and start trying to pull data out. Is this correct?
Absolutely. You can go to the website, you can look at the data, you can find the data type that you're looking for. You may want to even look at a chart, or you may want to look at a trend chart or a bar chart, and then you can click a button and download it. And so you can download the chart and put it in a presentation. You can download the data set and make your own chart. If you don't like the pretty colors I got, you can use the pretty colors you want to use. And you can just take the data set itself and download it. And if you're really geeky, and I know sometimes you are, Timber, you can take that and analyze the data and kind of go through and really understand like where to focus.
No, I am pretty geeky, and data is super important, and it's something that like everybody always asks for it. Are you partnering with the municipalities at this point in the region to be able to pull down some of this local data from a city standpoint, or is this something that's going to be happening in the future?
This is going to be continuing to happen in the future. So what we've been doing is talking to, we have 7 different stakeholder groups, and government is one of them. And we've been talking through all the different stakeholders to say, what data do you have that you might want to share and make public and make another place that's all in one place that's easy to use? And what kind of data do you need? And so we're kind of getting this kind of supply and demand understanding of the community. And so we know, for example, United Way wants to share its 211 data. So we need to think about how we do that, how we structure it, and then how we get it up to the website. But other people have also said, I want to understand the 211 data. So now we can start to prioritize those. And that's primarily what we'll be doing in 2025, is integrating step-by-step these local data sources while we're keeping the other data sources are going to be up to date and refreshed all the time, so we don't have to worry about that.
Though I wanted to ask you another question, but now after saying that, you need to integrate stuff and it's just expanding, what's your team size?
I am the team size.
Wow.
We are looking at having a data director. And what's really more important and amazing is we have a great community we're looking at all 3 counties, and we have all these stakeholders. We have people from all over the community that volunteer.
Wow.
So we have a group that helped us volunteer related to putting our data into the data set that we wanted. So we had like 1,000 data points we could put in, and we don't want to put 1,000 in. That's going to overwhelm people. 110 is plenty.
So is it like updated periodically, or
Yes.
you just go,
Yes.
okay.
So every time the American Community Survey updates in the past, you'd have to go and talk to a provider, and you'd say, hey, can you update this data point? And they'd say, well, give me a couple months and give me a bunch of money and we'll do it. The relationship we have now, about 2 weeks after that comes out, it's automatically updated. We don't have to change the charts. The charts auto-generate and everything, so it's more efficient and more effective.
Okay, so just in case you aren't necessarily that data guru, and you go to the website and you're not quite sure how to pull things down, is there a way to get some assistance or some help?
Sure. There's a few ways to do that. One, you can contact me, Jason at fvdex.org, and I can help you through. And we have a set of people that work with this data that can help. So we have across all different groups. That's one way. Another way, when you're on the website, there's actually a place on the website where it says how to use. You can go in there, there's videos in there of how to use the website. So you can kind of understand them, click through them. We're also building these aids, job aids, you could call them, that are on the site. So if you're like, how do I do this funky thing that isn't in the video? You can kind of go step by step and it'll help you follow through. We're planning to have some more webinars and also a few face-to-face events for the community. So the community can come out and we can just spend some time and help people get comfortable with that, like we did at our launch on October 15th.
So, share a narrative that will help listeners understand the importance of the resource.
Sure. So one of the things that we did before our launch and are continuing to do is building use cases for our stakeholders. So like, okay, great, I got all this data. What do I do with it? Why would I use it? And so we've been building these specific use cases for the Fox Valley Data Exchange. And one thing that nonprofits are seeing the value of is when they got to do a grant application, they need to have data and they need charts and they need to do that. Now they can click in there, pop, 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 and they can get that data and it's nice and easy for them. They don't have to go find the data sources, on a different, from different websites. It makes it really easy. Another example from a nonprofit perspective is Habitat for Humanity. So what they were able to do is they looked at the data from the Fox Valley Data Exchange website, and that helped them determine where the next Rock the Block efforts are going to take place. So they looked at housing cost burden, which is one of our metrics, owner occupancy data. They looked at some poverty metrics and a few other metrics on a census tract level. So now you're getting down, it's not just like a city or it's not a zip code, but you're getting down to, here's where this might be the best place to do Rock the Block in this case. So they've narrowed down a few locations and now they're thinking of using one of those locations as their way to do the Rock the Block effort. And if you want to learn more about that, Amy McGowan from Habitat Humanity, she recorded a video, which is up on our website, to show this benefits and why this has been so great for her and for Habitat for Humanity. We're doing this with business. We're doing this with public health, with healthcare. So you'll see all these different use cases to make it easier to think about, that makes sense. This is how I could use that.
What kind of data do you think is going to be the most popular for organizations and individuals to kind of dig into? Because what I want to do is give our listeners an idea of the types of things that you can look up that might trigger something in that aha moment where they go, oh, wow, this is awesome. Okay, I know where to go now.
Right. Well, one thing I'll share is that as a data exchange, we're focusing specifically on the 7 vital conditions of well-being. So that's a national framework came out of the Ripple Foundation and Rethink Health. And what they figured out is that there's these 7 different areas where looking at those measures can help improve our well-being. So I was part of the data committee and some other activity in Imagine Fox Cities, and we had used some of that. We had looked at that framework of well-being. So there was a well-being survey that was done. So what we'd like to do in the future is really extend a 3-county and have a well-being survey so we can use the vital conditions as part of our framework. We want to help our tri-county community shift from a deficit mindset to kind of a growth or well-being mindset. So when we're looking at this, humane housing would be an example, or looking at health and well-being of people, not necessarily like what's our mortality rate as much as like what's the usage of high blood pressure medication. So people get subscriptions for medication. Did you use it or not? That's a little bit more of an actionable thing than just what's my mortality or cancer rate here. So we have both of those data, but we're really trying to focus on the vital conditions for well-being.
Are there any upcoming initiatives, events, or engagement opportunities?
Well, everyone can engage in the data at vitaldata.fvdex.org. We have only approximately 415,563 people in our 3 counties. And so everyone can engage with that data. And I encourage you to look around in that data set. We have a few videos we talked about on how to use the website to make it easy for people. And you can also look at that data geographically down to that census tract level. So if you know where you live, you can kind of see all the data of how that area is doing. The other thing is if you like, you can download that data, as we said, and our goal is to make it transparent for the community so that anybody can make better decisions using that data. We plan to have these webinars coming up and also events in the near future where people can get comfortable using the website. And similar to Milwaukee, who also has a data exchange like this, we want to have yearly like a data day where people can come together and we can kind of see what's been updated, what are we learning, what's happening in the well-being vital conditions area.
Oh, that sounds like a fun party to be at.
Absolutely.
As long as they serve tacos, I'm there.
Depends where we are.
We like to ask this question often. Are there any misconceptions or myths surrounding this data gathering?
Misconceptions or myths? Well, everything we have on the Fox Valley Data Exchange has its source very clear and has its statistical significance on it. So it's not like it's just data coming from somewhere and you don't know where it's at. Everything is well sourced. And you can go in and when you're looking at data, you just click the tab that says source. It tells you everything about the source. For example, during COVID, there's gaps in data, not surprisingly. So it's clarified that, oh, well, here you don't have a data point because in 2020, data wasn't collected for that time frame. It's also important to look at, I call them like, in Star Wars, you have like the TIE fighter wings. It's like the top, it's the upper confidence level and the lower confidence level. Well, if you have a very small data set, sometimes it's like, oh, this is like really bad. But when you really look at it, there's so few data points that it means it may not be statistically significant difference between the data. So
Right.
that's right up on the charts when you look at them.
Oh, that's amazing.
So, is there anything the community can do to be helpful in terms of like how they can contact you, participate? Because data is such a huge thing. And are you looking for organizations or an individual can go and help you with some data? I mean, how they can be helpful to you?
Yeah, there's a few ways. One, we're still funding our organization, so we're in our 3-year launch process, and so we're funding for our 3-year launch process. So if you'd like to fund the Fox Valley Data Exchange, we'd be more than happy to accept that. We also have 3 different volunteering opportunities right now that would be really interesting. One, we have a marketing and communications group. So our marketing communications group helps us with press releases, helps us look through. So if you know anybody, Andy, in the marketing and communications area, we'd love volunteers in that space. Second of all, we have one called Data Frameworks. So when you think of things like social determinants of health, when you think of vital conditions, when you think of other frameworks, what to measure and what to put in there, we have a whole group from all the different stakeholder groups that are in there saying, oh, I want to measure things around healthcare and I need some things around housing and so on and so forth. And the third way is if you are, I call them data nerds. We actually have personas and we call them data dingoes. But people who like to structure data, like to clean data. So we've been working with, people from US Venture, from Lawrence University and from other places that really like to play with this data. And so we need them to help us structure the data and organize the data. So people that have that skill set that want to volunteer, we'd be really excited to have them as part of our volunteer team.
Okay, so if people want to learn more about this data exchange, where are they going? Who are they talking to?
Well, we don't have our TikTok up yet, so instead,
no TikTok dances.
No TikTok dances yet. But we do have a LinkedIn page. But you can go to vitaldata.fvdex.org, which is where you'd use the website. On the website, there is a Get Involved tab. So if you're interested in supporting, or if you have a question, there's a whole place there where we can answer questions straight off of the website. And so if you want to support with time, talent, or treasure, that's a place to go. You can also contact me directly at jason@fvdex.org. So I tried to make it easy. And so that's, those are probably the three best ways at the moment to do that.
Okay. I will be sure to put this contact information and the website in the podcast notes. All right. One more question. Is there any additional information that you would like to share with the Appleton Engage listeners at this time that maybe we didn't ask a question about?
Yeah, I wanted to just, it's not really a shout out, but because I know we're going to do those soon, I've watched or listened to your podcast before. But Thrivent, what they did is Thrivent has a group of data analysts and data analytics people all across the nation, actually. And what they did is they said, hey, we'd like to volunteer our skill set with a nonprofit. And so what they ended up doing is they did a 6-week project with us that ended a few weeks ago. And what they basically did in that project was they benchmarked all of these places across the nation to find what are the best ways to look at the vital conditions and to measure. And like, oh, you're missing these measurements. Why don't you may want to add those on. The second thing they did is they took qualitative data that we had and they looked at that data and analyzed it in a way that helped us know whether we're focusing on the right things in our area. So they did neuro-linguistic programming and all this kind of fancy data stuff. But this was just a group that volunteered their time as Thrivent. And so I think it was an amazing opportunity and connection where people can use their skills in a way that allows them to move forward. And we could really use the skills because it's just me, and I don't do neuro-linguistic programming and all that kind of stuff. I just try to keep the nonprofit rolling.
I can totally see when the heart is in the right place, more and more people just keep joining the movement. And I think the data is one of the best indicator of how we do the programs. And I believe it's a great resource. I never thought of the numbers in these ways. And I think you made it clear that, we need these kind of data exchange systems. Now it's the time to do some shout out. It's like you have a lot of partners you work with. So I'm now interested to see how many shout outs you can do.
Okay, I'll see. I'm not going to do this like that credit card ad where I tell you all those things really fast. So I'm going to take my time. But first of all, the funders. So Community Foundation of the Fox Valley Region, the United Way of the Fox Cities, Thrivent, U.S. Venture, David L. and Rita E. Nelson Family Fund, the Oshkosh Area United Way, the Oshkosh Area Community Foundation, ThedaCare, Lawrence University, and Oshkosh Corporation have been our leading funders on this, and we'd love to add names to that list as we go. Next, our board members. So Rachel Podosky works over at the United Way Fox Cities. She's our president. B. Vang Ammer is our vice president. Wade Becker of ThedaCare is our treasurer. Jennifer Wagner at the Fox Valley Technical College in Chilton is our secretary. And then we have at-large, nothing, it's just at-large is what we call them, or nothing about size. Doug Gearin at Winnebago County Health, John Brogan at the Bank of Kaukauna, and Tammy Geenan at the Community Foundation of the Fox Valley Region. And then finally, there's a lot of other names, but I'm getting up there in age, and so you don't want to forget a name or two. But we have some other groups that are partners that have great people that have donated their time and talent. So Faith Technologies, Plexus, The Connector, Fox Cities Habitat for Humanity, Calumet Public Health, Outagamie County Public Health, the Multicultural Coalition, Raleigh Point Consulting, Appleton Public Health, and then also some of the other groups that I talked about earlier have had people that have volunteered their time and treasure. And thank you, Andy and Timber, for hosting this awesome podcast that you do all the time and makes a difference in this community.
Thank you.
Hey, Jason, thank you for making time to be here with us and to share about this amazing resource. At this time, we're going to start wrapping up this episode. Appleton Engaged listeners, I just want to say thank you for spending time with us, giving us your minds and ears, caring about another amazing resource in our city, in our region, helping to make this place a better place to be. We are trying to become the #1 podcast in Northeast Wisconsin, and we need your help if we're going to do that. How do we get better? Well, we get better with you. So Do not hesitate. If you've got ideas for the show, let us know. If you got new questions you'd like us to ask, let us know. If you'd like to be a guest, let us know. And if you would like to recommend a guest, let us know. You can let us know at diversity@appleton.org. Once again, that is diversity@appleton.org. Also, this podcast we think is something very, very special, something that's making our community a better place. The more informed our residents are, the more connected community we become, a place where we all can feel like we belong. But to do that, need some more help. So while you're listening to us right now, hit the subscribe button. If there's an opportunity to rate the podcast, give us 5 stars. And if you've got a few more moments, go ahead and just fill out that review for us. These are all things that raise our analytics, and the better our analytics, the more eyes and ears locally around these parts learn about this amazing resource known as Appleton Engaged.
Thank you, Jason, for sharing this wonderful resource with the community and taking this huge work on your shoulders to like gather these huge data points, making it a one-stop shop for the Fox Valley region to use. Thank you for doing that. And please, listeners, go and check out the website and see the ways you can help by volunteering or by supporting the organization, because everyone makes difference to the community. With that, until next time, stay thoughtful, stay curious, and stay engaged.